Okay, fifth grade, are we ready to put some color in our Julian Onderdonk landscape? This is the final drawing that I did in the last demonstration. You should have one done by now. We did a step-by-step. If you haven't, go back and do one. And in fact, I made copies on my light board of this exact one because I want to show you how to color this in a lot of different ways. I've got regular print paper from a computer, and then I also copied it on a heavier cardstock so I could add a little paint if I wanted. And I actually even have watercolor paper. So whatever you have, you can watch each step. I'm going to try to do several different ways of coloring this so you can really understand how to do it. All right, first way would be if you have colored pencils or watercolor pencils. Now this is kind of what I'm going for. I may not do the whole process on this video, but as you can see, I've put in the sky first. I put the blue very lightly, then purple for the mountains. We're not going to use very much color. Onderdonk had a very limited palette in most of his paintings. It was basically blues, greens, and a little yellow. Sometimes he would introduce some pink, and the purple was used. He would mix the colors to make a lavender. So this is where we're going. This is not quite finished. Okay, here we go. First things first, use a light blue pencil. I'm going to put these other examples over here. Use a light blue pencil, and just when you're using pencil, or you could use a crayon, make sure you kind of go in the same direction, especially in the sky, because you want it to be one flat color. Now I'm going to do this very, very quickly. And it doesn't have to be perfect, and you don't even have to have lines for where your clouds are. You can make your clouds just by leaving this negative space here, the white, because you might be adding colors to that anyway. So you've got your basic blue. Now, the mountain area is back here. So I'm going to use a light purple. If all you have is a pink and a blue, you can mix those. But a violet color, and I'm just going to go in the other direction. See how I'm kind of coloring it all in one direction? It just looks neater and it's fast. This doesn't have to be very dark. And you can turn your paper if it feels more comfortable to turn it. Crayons would be just as well. There are beautiful paintings done with crayons. You might call them colored drawings, but they look like paintings. Okay, so I've got my purple in the background. I'm going to put some more blue to kind of undercoat it with a light blue in the background, because you wouldn't see, even though they're blue bonnets back there, you wouldn't see them individually. Remember, atmospheric perspective, you make things get lighter and lighter as they go back, and cooler. You can even go over the top of your mountains with a little of that blue. See how that makes that blend in? Now you can take as much time as you need I'm doing this very quickly just to give you an idea of how to do it. Remember when we did the big mural too, we did this same thing. The top of the mountains are a little more defined than in here. Because in here, if you leave it a little more fuzzy, it looks like there's a little mist there. All right, so I've got the back plane, the back third of the picture done. Now in here, you have to do a little bit more undercoating. I would put a little bit of a, remember how we undercoated our landscapes, our Frank Gray landscapes? I'm gonna put a little bit of yellow in here, and especially on my path. And I'm also gonna put a little brown, just to give it, not everywhere, but when you see bluebonnets in a field, you will see patches of them. There'll be places where they're thicker than others. I'm going to make my path back there kind of brown. And the bottom of the tree. See how I'm kind of going over the whole thing once over? I'm getting an overall color. All my little trees, they don't have to be exact. Make them like little hands. The trunk is about a third of the way. The branching is another third, and the top part is like little fingers. I'm drawing the little finger branches up here. See how this is 1/3 of it is the trunk? And then the top part. Now this, you could just leave this colored pencil. I'm also going to do a little bit of a bush right here. All right, foreground. This is going to be the darkest area and actually the warmest area. And I'm going to do this very level. If you see my strokes here, you can turn your page if it helps. When you do a path, it's almost like the top of water. The strokes should be almost like railroad ties, and they just get smaller and smaller as they go back. But in the front, you can make the front plane the strongest color. So now you've got your sky, your midground, and now we're doing our foreground. So I'm going to really make this more intense. I'm going to do a lot of undercoloring, but this time I'm going to do some scribbly marks. Up closer, I'm going to do some bigger ones. See the little ovals I'm making? Because bluebonnets, when you look at a field of bluebonnets, you do see a sea of blue, but you also see a little indication of each individual plant. Now, I hope you did your individual studies, bluebonnet plants. They're kind of little ovals, or you could do little squares if you were going to abstract it. But just for right now, if you give yourself a little bit of background color, and you can do it like this. Now this could take a long, long time. But you can see I'm not doing every little plant and spending an hour on it. In this front part, and you're going to leave part of this white. After you've done this, you can take your pencils and just start doing some little long dots in each of your little ovals. See how dark I'm making them? And at this point, the ones in the front would be the darkest and the brightest. Okay, that is our first video. The next one, I'm going to start doing detail and deeper color. All right, bye.